From burnout and exhaustion to joy and fulfillment. Through the act of serving consciously, it's time to rediscover your passion. It's live with Elizabeth and guests on the Contact Talk Radio Network.
You know, I was thinking when you were mentioning the idea of following our heart, and I've been really contemplating that myself more and more lately. Just really, what does my heart want, and allowing that to be okay, and then taking the steps that I can to follow that. Well, when we're following our heart and also, living in the expectation that we can be rewarded when we don't know something, the reward of not knowing and following our heart, like that takes a lot of courage, right? Like there's often things that get in our way. We might believe, my heart knows. I know that my heart knows. But sometimes what our heart knows and what our heart tells us frightens the hell out of us, right?
Well, indeed. And that is essentially the purpose of the dragon. Now, this brings me to Nietzsche, who was a German philosopher. I love this idea from his. It's called the 3 stages of the spirit. And when you are starting off, you start off life symbolically as a camel. And what does the camel do? The camel gets down on its knees and says, put a load on me. Now, this is the youth that is coming into the world and learning how to conduct himself, being educated in the world of how the world operates. And then once the camel is fully loaded, he wanders off into the desert and becomes a lion. Now, this is symbolic of the youth leaving home, leaving maybe all the things that he knows to find his own way. And the camel is then transformed into a lion. Now, why a lion? Because a lion is a very fierce, strong energy. He's the king of the jungle. And the purpose of the lion is to kill the dragon. And this dragon is in us. And on every scale of the dragon, a law is imprinted. One that we grew up with, something that is not allowing us to open up to a larger field of experience. Now, once the lion kills the dragon, the lion, on the 3rd transformation, is then transformed into a child, an innocent baby who sees life and everything in it as new. And that is being born to compassion. You are still operating with all of the concepts that you've learned to be an adult, but you are also wide-eyed to the wonder of the world, the way that, again, elderly people and children just are gazing at everything with so much reckless abandon, but yet there's an adult self that is keeping that operating at a normal level,
right?
you might say. And I always loved going to parties because I loved and hated them because I was always the most nervous. But if there was an older person in the crowd, you just see them just having the best time of anybody because they don't give a damn. and it's wonderful. It's the same thing with a child. And to be in the world where you no longer, it's not about not caring what other people are thinking. I find that once you no longer judge yourself, the rest of the world follows suit. And then nobody judges you.
Isn't that so powerful? Isn't that the truth, Phil? And I find that a really powerful way when I become, because quite often with people that I've worked with over the years who are engaged in service to people through healthcare, human services, things like that, students who are preparing to go into the field, I often hear people saying, I'm not judgmental. I don't judge anybody. I have no judgments. And it's just simply not true. I mean, that's part of being human, that these judgments or biases will come to the surface. And again, it's how do we respond to it, right? How do we transcend that? And I find it so powerful to say, if this judgment is coming up in me about you or somebody else, then what is it that I'm really truly judging about myself here? And how is that jump back to me, right? And that's where you can actually do something and make changes and shifts and embrace yourself and have a little self-compassion. Very powerful.
Well, yeah, I mean, it all begins with me. If it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Yes, absolutely. And I know that your work does focus a lot on this transformation of doubt and fear into courage and certainty. And you do that by looking at these heroic sequence of events in your own lives.